God, I've heard the phrase 1,000 times. Your faith can move mountains. But what if mine can't even move me out of bed some days? What if my version of faith looks more like hope with a limp? What if my prayers are a mix of belief and doubt, all tangled together? What if I want to believe, but I've also been disappointed before? Still, I'm here, because even with everything I've seen, everything I've feared, there's something in me that refuses to give up. Something in me that says, there has to be more than this. Something in me that whispers, don't stop now. So I'm coming to you with that tiny thread of belief. I don't have fireworks today. No perfect prayers. No bold declarations. Just a quiet, honest heart that says, I need a miracle. Not the kind that's broadcasted. Not the kind that's made for headlines. But the kind that shows up in my real life. The kind that brings healing where things have stayed broken for too long. The kind that opens doors I stopped knocking on. The kind that breathes life into places I've buried in silence. I want to believe you still do that. That you still reach into ordinary people's lives and do something completely, wildly, unexplainably real. And I'm not asking for magic. I'm asking for movement. For that subtle shift in the atmosphere that tells my heart, God is still working. Even now. Because honestly, I've lived through seasons where all I could do was survive. Where faith felt far away. Where my prayers were more like whispers than war cries. Where the mountain didn't move, and I had to climb it with shaky legs instead. But maybe even that was faith. Maybe faith isn't about loudness or confidence. Maybe it's just refusing to let go. Maybe it's staying in the conversation, even when I don't understand the answers. So today, I bring you what I've got. My tired belief, my inconsistent hope, my longing to see you do something only you can do. And I'm not asking you to impress me. I'm asking you to be near, to remind me that miracles aren't just events. They're moments. Moments when heaven touches earth in ways that can't be explained, only experienced. I want to experience that again, not because I deserve it, not because I've earned it, but because I'm yours, and I believe you still delight in showing up. So let this be the start. Let this be the seed. Let this be the day I dared to believe again, even if it was messy, even if it was small, even if it didn't feel like much. If I'm honest, there were times I stopped asking for miracles because it hurt too much to hope. I've prayed before, deeply, desperately, and watched nothing change. I've hoped before, fully, wholeheartedly, and watched things fall apart anyway. And that does something to a person. It makes you hesitate. Makes you flinch when someone says, just have faith. Because faith hasn't always felt kind. It's felt dangerous, costly, vulnerable. But maybe I was carrying a version of faith that depended too much on outcomes. Maybe what I really need is faith that can exist even when the outcome doesn't. The kind of faith that still prays, even when the last prayer ended in silence. The kind that still shows up, even when nothing looks different yet. Because even if the mountain doesn't move today, you are still God. And maybe the real miracle is that I'm still praying, still here, still reaching. I've carried quiet grief for a long time. The kind that doesn't have a funeral. The kind that lingers in your chest. The kind that says, I thought things would be different by now. And yet, here you are. Not angry at me for doubting. Not shaming me for being tired, but waiting. Patient. Gentle. You haven't given up on me. Even when I gave up on the idea of breakthrough. So help me believe again. Not because I've been convinced by someone's story, but because I've tasted your presence. Even in the places where I didn't get what I wanted. Because deep down, I know that you're still good. Even when life isn't. I want to live with that kind of faith. Not results-based, but relationship-based. The kind of faith that's rooted in who you are, not just what you do. Help me trust that just because something hasn't happened yet, doesn't mean it never will. Help me trust that even if it doesn't, you're still enough. That kind of trust feels risky, but I'm learning that miracles often begin with risk. With showing up one more time. With praying one more time. With daring to believe that maybe this is the moment. Even if I feel like I've been here before. Even if I'm afraid to be let down again. Because what's the alternative? Closing my heart completely? Living in fear of disappointment? I've done that before, and it didn't protect me. It just numbed me. I don't want numb anymore. I want real, even if it hurts sometimes, even if it means hoping again. So here I am, not sure, not bold, not certain, but open. And maybe that's the first miracle, that my heart is still open. If faith can move mountains, then maybe it also moves people. Not always to grand stages or dramatic moments, sometimes just forward. A single step, a small act of trust in the dark. The kind that says, I don't see the answer yet, but I'm going to live like it's on the way. So help me walk like that. Help me pray like heaven is actually listening. Help me forgive like healing is already in progress. Help me serve like breakthrough is coming. Not just for me, but through me. Because I don't want to be someone who just believes passively. I want to believe with movement, with choices that reflect hope, with actions that agree with your promises, even before the evidence shows up. That's hard, especially when everything in me wants proof first. When logic says, wait. When fear says, protect yourself. When the past says, last time, it didn't work. But I don't want to let fear dictate my pace. I don't want to let disappointment shape my theology. I want to give you space to move, even if that means doing things that don't make sense to everyone else. Because miracles don't always begin with lightning. Sometimes they begin with obedience, with a quiet yes, with a step that feels small, but is actually everything. So let my everyday become a place of faith. Let the way I talk, spend, work, rest, love, and lead be marked by trust. Not because I'm trying to earn anything, but because I'm living in expectation. Not anxious expectation, but anchored, grounded, hopeful. Let me be the kind of person who celebrates small signs, who doesn't dismiss the slow progress, who sees the almost and says, God, I know you're not done yet. Let me live like someone who's already seen you move, because I have. Maybe not always the way I asked, but always in a way that grew me. And if you've done it before, you can do it again. Let that be enough for today, to walk forward, to open my hands, to believe again, actively. I'm ready now, not just ready to receive, but ready to believe bigger, to believe deeper, to believe again, like I did before the world made me cautious. I don't want to live in spiritual survival mode anymore. I want to expect you in the room, in the silence, in the impossible, because I know now the miracle doesn't always look like a headline. Sometimes the miracle is peace in the middle of chaos. Sometimes it's forgiveness that feels humanly impossible. Sometimes it's a door that opens long after I stopped knocking. And sometimes it's me, my heart beating softer, my eyes seeing clearer, my soul finally breathing again. So I don't just want to witness a miracle. I want to become one. Let my story be proof that faith still works, that it still matters, that it still moves things. Not always instantly, but always intentionally. Let people see the shift in me and wonder what happened. Let my joy interrupt their fear. Let my peace confront their chaos. Let my hope remind them they're not too late, because you're not just a God of moments. You're a God of movement, of rebuilding, of restoring, of starting again, even when it looks like the end. So I'm walking with my eyes wide open now, looking for miracles in places I once ignored, in quiet mornings, in awkward conversations, in messy healing, in tiny answered prayers I used to miss. I'm listening for you in the middle of normal. I'm watching for you in the lives around me. I'm asking you to do what only you can do, in me and through me. Let my belief be contagious. Let it stir up hope in rooms that feel heavy. Let it break cycles in families. Let it call out greatness in people who've forgotten their worth. And if all of that starts with this one prayer, this one trembling yes, then I'm all in. You have my heart. You have my fears. You have my past, my future, my now. And you have my faith, imperfect, growing, real. So move the mountain, or move me, or move someone through me. But whatever you do, I'm ready. Amen.